You keep waiting for them to say sorry, to finally admit what they did, to say it wasn't your fault, to say you mattered, to say they loved you and meant it. But here's the truth. They don't give closure because giving closure would mean giving up control. They won't validate your pain because they were the ones who caused it. They won't admit they hurt you because their identity depends on being the victim. They won't say you were good enough because that would mean they weren't, so they stay silent. Or worse, they act like nothing ever happened. They rewrite the story. They pretend you were the problem. They pretend you were too sensitive, too dramatic, too unforgiving. But the truth? They knew exactly what they were doing, and they don't apologize. Because they're not sorry. They're just sorry they lost control over you. Closure requires two things: accountability and care. A narcissist has neither. You're not stuck because of what they didn't say. You're stuck because you're still hoping they'll say it. But they won't. Not now. Not ever. And that's not your fault. They withhold closure, the same way they withheld love, to keep you small, to keep you questioning, to keep you close enough to control, but far enough to never feel safe. It's not love. It's leverage. And you deserve better. This part of the story? It's not about fixing them or waiting for peace to come from the person who broke you. It's about naming what's real. Because the moment you stop expecting closure is the moment you start getting free. You think you're waiting for closure, but what you're really doing is staying in their orbit. You keep replaying the last conversation, the last message, the last look, like it holds a secret. Like if you stare long enough, you'll finally understand, but they want you confused. They want you questioning yourself. They want you stuck. Because as long as you're waiting, you're still theirs. Every minute you spend hoping for an explanation is a minute you're not healing. Not moving on, not choosing yourself. They built this trap carefully. They gave you just enough love to crave it, just enough guilt to carry it, just enough silence to chase answers, just enough blame to keep you ashamed. They knew you'd look for closure because they taught you to believe love meant fixing things, even when they were the one breaking them. So you keep trying. You keep hoping. You keep waiting for the moment they'll say, "You were right. I was wrong. You deserved better." But that moment won't come because their power never came from loving you. It came from confusing you. They want you stuck between the past and the future, so you never live in the present. They want you frozen in what if. Because if you ever say enough, they lose their grip. Closure is the last string, and they won't cut it. They'll leave it dangling, just enough to keep you checking, just enough to keep you doubting, just enough to keep you hoping that maybe one day they'll come back changed. But they won't. And you know it. You've seen this cycle before. Apology without change. Affection without safety. Attention without care. It's not a relationship. It's a performance. And the longer you stay on their stage, the more you forget who you are off of it. They don't want peace between you. They want power over you. And as long as you believe you need closure, they still have it. But you don't need another message, another apology, another conversation. You need the truth. And the truth is, they already told you who they are. It's time to believe them. You thought closure would come from them. But real closure comes the moment you realize you don't need anything from someone who gave you nothing when it mattered. You don't need an apology to outgrow the pain. You don't need recognition to reclaim your worth. You don't need their words to rewrite your story, because healing isn't about what they give. It's about what you choose. You choose peace. Even if they never admit the truth, you choose joy. Even if they think you don't deserve it. You choose freedom. Even if they keep pulling at chains that no longer hold, they don't get to decide when you're done hurting. They don't get to delay your healing until it's convenient for their ego. You don't need their closure because you've already survived their silence, their gaslighting, their manipulation, their fake forgiveness, their weaponized kindness, and their carefully timed cruelty. You didn't get justice, but you got out. You didn't get the ending you deserved, but you get to write a new one. And this time, you're the author, not the aftermath. You're no longer performing for people who never clapped. You're no longer shrinking to fit into someone else's comfort. You're no longer waiting for the past to fix itself? You're building a life they can't touch. Not because you got closure, but because you got clarity. You looked at the wreckage and planted something anyway. You took your pain and built purpose. You took the silence and filled it with your own voice. Stronger, louder, clearer. The real closure wasn't a conversation. It was a decision to stop bleeding in front of people who never cared to heal you. You walked away, and that was the ending. They didn't get to give it, but you took it. And now you rise, not with their blessing, but with your own. Because closure isn't about what they say. It's about what you finally believe. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not healing. You are reclaiming, and they'll never understand, but they don't have to. You're not waiting anymore. You're not hoping anymore. You're not lost anymore. You're free, and that is the only closure you ever needed.